SMS SAfm now on 41391.
Okay, so let's talk about something a bit more pleasant. Yeah, let's do that. Africa is initiating the next digital challenge, and it's addressing the gap in the digital marketing skills gap. And there is a program that I think if you're interested in digital stuff, this is something that you need to be listening very, very carefully to. I'm joined by Willy Seyama, who's a digital innovator. I love how you spelled innovator. As in, I'll spell it for you guys. It's E and Nivato. I love that. But as an innovator, this, I suppose, is innovation at hand. Hi.
Absolutely. Hello, Spumel.
So what is this initiative that you guys are proposing to help the digital divide in Africa?
Let me take you one step back. I've been running a digital marketing agency for the past 11 years. Mm-hmm. And as part of our publishing the ebook, which we put out in September,
yes,
we discovered that there are no stats, publicly available stats, mm-hmm, on digital marketing skills right now anywhere on the continent, including in South Africa.
Really?
And that became a concern. A concern because when you consider that digital marketing and communications is driven by technology, mm-hmm, which is changing all
every
the
day,
time,
mm-hmm,
and yet we don't have stats on the digital marketing skills, it became a big concern for us. And that's why we decided to put together this program where the idea is to really establish what are the benchmarks insofar as digital marketing skills are concerned on the continent right now as we speak.
Do we have them? And I'll tell you why. Because, in fact, I was having this conversation with somebody earlier on today who was saying, should I be applying for a course? And I said, absolutely not. I said, don't do that. Because whatever institution available to you right now, whatever they're going to teach you is too old.
Yeah.
Don't waste your money. Don't allow anybody to say, coming into my institution, I'll teach you digital innovation. It doesn't exist. You kind of have to find the right place to work or people to work with and learn as you innovate.
There you go. And it's interesting you mentioning this from a university point of view, just as an aside. University education syllabus, the last time I checked, is 7 years behind the current trends.
I didn't even know that.
I hate to be saying this because I come from
that
background.
I'm so sorry for all the people listening. I'm so sorry.
Absolutely. So it's a big challenge, because how do organizations plan? How do they make sure that talent management is keeping up with this pace when there are no benchmarks in place?
So I was also saying to the same individual, I was saying to them who works with us here, that you will have institutions who are at the forefront of technology then bringing in these skills, right? Concerns me somewhat because they're not independent. Whatever it is that they're teaching you, obviously there's an agenda behind it to drive their own narrative and so on. So what happens to a young person who's interested in innovation, in understanding the space, and actually is looking to be guided?
No, absolutely. Look, I remember some 3-4 years ago, one of the startling situation in South Africa back then, and I don't think it has changed much, was that on one hand, you have jobs that need to be filled.
Yes.
But on the other hand, you had people who are skilled in the wrong, with wrong competencies.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with digital marketing now as we speak. And really, I'm very passionate about this program. We've decided we want to roll it out across the continent. We're working with people in 2 other territories, Kenya and Nigeria, because we don't want this to be seen as a South African initiative. We launched it end of November. We want people who are within this profession of digital marketing and communications sector to participate, because if people don't take the opportunity to be able to assess themselves in terms of where they are versus what the requirements are at the moment, we're sitting with a big challenge. So it is in the interest of everybody within the sector.
Actually, I want to take it a bit further. I would challenge and say not even in the sector. So the results of being isolated and being outside of the ecosystem means this couple of things. It means that when you go, and I remember a couple of these things trending it comes up all the time. When you go and search something, right? You go into either Google or Wikipedia or whatever, and you search something. The search is going to take you to where it's most populated, the content that's most populated. A people that doesn't add their voice to the digital space is a people that doesn't exist. So if I Google, I don't know, Tswana, if I Google my heritage or so say my clan name, right? And I don't find anything, or it actually misleads me. Whose fault is that? It's actually my fault.
You're so right.
Because I am the custodian of the culture of my own narrative, and I am the one who's supposed to populate Wikipedia with that information. Nobody pays me. But if I want my history to remain, it's my responsibility to do that. We're not even there yet.
You're taking me into quite an interesting space, because I don't know if you know, we are also running a passion project which we call African Languages Matter.
Okay.
But here's the point. The point about us being able to preserve our stories as Africans and all those sorts of things, exactly to your point, is our responsibility. I published a blog about actually it was quite some time ago, where I'm saying the internet to us as Africans is the next best thing after a slice of bread, because we now have the opportunity to publish our own stories and not depend on anyone else to do that on our behalf. But the challenge still remains that we are not doing enough of it.
And the challenge remains, we still look to traditional media to solve our problems. We still hear people say, no one's publishing, I'll go back to my own example, nobody's publishing Tswana books or whatever the case may be, or when I switch on the TV or the movies or whatever, I don't get content that speaks to me. Well, whose job is that?
Yeah.
Whose job is that?
You're so right. We can go on and on this very rabbit hole. Now, Afrikaans is one of the dominant languages on the internet. And you know why? It's because the speakers of the language
have made it their
publish
business to do that. Correct.
In that language.
Correct.
And it's up to everyone who's speaking their language to make sure that happens. And it's interesting you brought this up. We've made sure, as best we could, that this project is as encompassing as possible. The website, as an example, can be translated into 16 different languages that include English and French, because we can't avoid those.
Yeah.
Arabic, Kiswahili, Hausa for West Africa, isiZulu even. So people don't have an excuse. Unfortunately, though, for the purpose of filling in the online survey, because that's how we'll be able to gather the data, you can only do it in 2 languages. Those are English and French.
Yes.
But we're encouraging people to come on board and really participate, because if the community themselves don't do so, we're sitting with a situation which will perpetuate. And Africa has got very limited contribution insofar as this sector is concerned on a global level.
Yeah. I mean, this is why you keep having people calling people out, or companies out in digital spaces, to say, well, wasn't there anybody in that boardroom or in that meeting checking on this? Well, if you're not active, no one is checking if there's nobody there.
There you go. So we really need to have those benchmarks in place from an African perspective, because if the current situation where we don't have such perpetuates, it means that we will have to keep adopting the benchmarks that are coming from abroad.
And that's exactly where I was going to go, to say the detriment of us not doing this properly. How big is it on your scale?
Well, and this is the thing, because we don't have the stats. So whatever I'm going to tell you now is really my own taking, and that on its own is very dangerous. But suffice to say that when we take an example of mobile marketing skills,
yes,
okay, we know that we've got one of the highest penetration of mobile phones anywhere in the world. We've got many Africans who started using the internet on their phones and not on the computer. Okay, so intuitively, I know that mobile marketing skills must be far above the rest in the world, but I don't have the data to prove it. The only way I'll be able to do so is for people to participate so that we can assess such this skill. It's one of the 10 in the audit, and then we can say for sure, well, we are performing at this level. Where is the world? Let's do the comparison with hard data.
And in fact, you may even find, and I dare say like this is obviously speculative, right? That when you look at ourselves and compare us to the world, that in mobile spaces, technology usage spaces, we could be ahead because places like the US still have banks that use, a check? You can, lots of people still operate like that. The world, Africa, has moved to mobile money so quickly because it has no choice. I mean, it has no choice. There came a point where we've got to now find another modus operandi. The systems were collapsing all around us. Because of that, we have far moved and exceeded what people are using that technology for around the world.
Absolutely. Now we need to take the time to capture that into hard data. I suppose one thing that we're good at as Africans is that we get on with stuff.
We innovate, very quickly.
And that on its own is a strength.
Yes.
But we need to now couple it with capturing the data so that we can say to the world with absolute certainty to say we are good at this and we can prove it. So it is my appeal really to the digital marketing and communications community. And as you rightfully say, maybe we need to expand that because a lot of the people who run companies in this day and age and who are building brands, whether they are doing it offline or online, they are affected by digital marketing in some form or another.
Why is it that so what we've just spoken about, right, is something that you and I can say for sure is it has happened because of a need. And the people have decided, well, they're going to skill themselves in this area because it's a necessity. Why is it that we have failed and companies have failed to transition traditional skills into the space?
Well, when you consider how this whole thing started, let's take social media as an example.
Yes.
Which is now about 15 years old, there or thereabout. If we use Facebook as a proxy, when social media, started becoming the way to communicate, it started with us as consumers. And companies were thinking, we're not the leaders here, we're not the ones controlling these conversations. How long is this going to last? So it took companies some while.
Humbling.
Exactly. Now, here is where the issue then has become a bit of a bottleneck. Many of the decision makers, and I dare say this, many of the decision makers are not the users of the social media space themselves.
Got you.
That is why the delay.
And coupled with that is that, and you'll hear this in big corporations as well, is that, well, we can't monetize this. We cannot monetize this thing. It doesn't matter whether you people are interested in being on social media, on WhatsApps and whatever, right? I can't make the money off it. I'm actually not interested. And the reason we're not monetizing is because we don't have the data.
You see, and there's another angle to it, Uspimelo. The other angle to it is we don't know how to measure the monetization.
That's the data that we're talking about.
Absolutely. And just quickly, interestingly, there was a study of digital marketing skills, which was done in the UK. It's an annual study, and we intend to do so as well, which found that typically the CEOs and the C-suite people, they are more skilled in traditional marketing than they are in digital marketing. No wonder you find a situation where some of these questions are being asked. And it has been found that you can actually monetize. It's just that we don't know how to measure.
You don't know how to measure it. It's a fascinating platform. Thank you for putting this up. Thank you for doing this, because I think it's going to assist a lot of young people and for us to advance the argument. You see, it's no longer about what I think.
Absolutely.
Well, once we have the stats in front of us, it's easy to present and say, well, these are the facts, and so we've got no choice but to go this way. Give us the details. Where do people go?
The simplest and best way is to find us on social media. Our Twitter handle is DM as for sugar AA 2020, which is short for Digital Marketing Skills in Africa Audit 2020.
Okay.
You can find us on Facebook as well.
All right.
And on LinkedIn.
Okay.
I know that people will be asking, why not Instagram? This is about information, which
you're not
Instagram
trying to sell us pretty pictures.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay.
So you can find us there. You can also find us on a website. Our website is digitalmarketingskills.africa.
Okay.
Or you can go straight to the online survey for those who are brave. Our online survey can be found on bit.ly. We call it bit.ly.
Okay.
/DMSAA -2020.
Okay. It's fascinating. When will you close this entry?
We plan to close this by the end of January, so that it gives us time to do the analysis and all those sorts of things, because we want to have the report out latest by the end of March 2020.
That's very ambitious.
Yeah.
That's very
It
ambitious.
really is. And given that we want 10,000 people to participate, it's going to take some doing, and that's why we're here.
Listen, good on you. This is fantastic. Thank you. So we'll speak again in March.
Thank you so much.
Bro Willy Seyama, who's a digital innovator, and they've got an amazing thing that they're trying to do here. We're trying to try and put together an audit of what's happening in that digital marketing space, and hopefully have that report by 2020. It's Digital Marketing Skills in Africa Audit 2020.